Hey guys, this is Omer from MMOs.com doing a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending March 18th, 2019. This is episode number 191 of the recap, and the first of news this week comes from Grinding Gear Games regarding Path of Exile. While Path of Exile just launched its synthesis update on the PC, there's another big update on the horizon. The game is finally coming on the PS4 on March 26th. The game was originally set to launch on the PS4 earlier along with the synthesis expansion, but was delayed, and we finally have a PS4 specific release date, and again that is March 26th. And since synthesis launched, the game hit a 24-hour peak of 111,000 users on Steam alone. The game actually had an all-time high in player base earlier with the Betrayal update, so I suspect that it'll hit a new all-time high either with synthesis or the major end-of-year expansion that comes out later in the year. At Path of Exile launch on the PS4, it'll be available on PS4, PC, and Xbox One. Switch next, perhaps. Next up, Guardians of Ember is launching its own beta sometime next week, and anyone who participated in the previous closed beta gets access to special veteran rewards. Guardians of Ember is kind of like Path of Exile or Diablo in that it's an isometric action RPG, except with more persistent MMORPG elements. The game used to be available as a buy-to-play title, but it flopped and is now relaunching as a free-to-play game through GameForge. I actually had zero interest in this game as a buy-to-play title, but will definitely be giving it a try now that it's free-to-play. Still, it has tough competition from games like Path of Exile or even Mu Legend. Up next, remember No Man's Sky, the open world survival game that totally lied about having multiplayer? Well, multiplayer and other MMO elements are finally coming to No Man's Sky with a 3-part major update set to launch in the summer called Beyond. And to be honest, it actually looks kind of decent. I think a lot of people were rightfully excited about a massive sandbox survival game like No Man's Sky. I think a ton of people are still pissed off about the game, so who knows if people will be coming back or not to try the game when this update launches. Remember, the game is buy to play, but if done right, I think this could be really, really fun. It looks really cool. It's just that they kind of boned players by lying in the past, so they lost a lot of goodwill. Next up, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. The 3v3 Final Fantasy game went free-to-play this last week as expected, and actually had a peak of player base of nearly 2,000 players on the free-to-play PC version on Steam, which ain't bad, but still a bit light for a big franchise like Final Fantasy. While I tried the game myself, it really wasn't my cup of tea, as the core gameplay just seemed unnecessarily convoluted, but heck, it's free-to-play, so there's no reason not to give it a try. You only get access to 3 or 4 characters, if I remember correctly, and those are free, but they do change every week, so you can get a weekly rotation. And to unlock new characters, it is $5.99 per character, which is a bit pricey. Next up, Closers just introduced a new character with the most recent Veterans Task Force update. The new playable character is called Jay, and you can see him in action in the video in the background. And celebrate the new character, Inmaz is holding special events for players who try the new character and get job promotions on him. With Critica set to shut down next month, Critica players might consider checking this one out, as both games feature instance dungeons with persistent hubs, so all these games are pretty similar to games like DFO and whatnot. Up next, Trine Worlds announced this last week that Rift's classic server titled Rift Prime will be shutting down on April 7th, 2019. It's one of the few progression servers I've ever heard of doing poorly. According to multiple sources on Reddit, the main complaint that players had of the progression server was that it was extremely poorly implemented. The new server made no effort to bring back the original class trees and other key features of the base version of Rift, which is ridiculous because that kind of goes against the whole point of a progression server. Anyone who did play on the server though and reached level 50 can get a free level 65 character on any other Rift server in their region. So at least the time they spent there wasn't a complete waste. But Rift Prime is shutting down on April 7th, so rip that. Now, speaking of progression servers, the 18-year-old sci-fi MMORPG Anarchy Online launched a brand new server to celebrate its 18th anniversary, and it'll be a progression server, so players can experience old Anarchy Online once again with new characters on a fresh server. The devs promise a unique take on progression servers, and it'll feature both old and new features twisted together. It's amazing that despite being 18 years old, Anarchy Online not only gets update, but it also gets new servers and whatnot. Visually, the game doesn't look terrible either because of a massive engine overhaul they had back in 2015. Now, there really aren't too many sci-fi MMORPGs out there, so if you like what you see, give this one a try. The server itself launched on March 1st, and it's open to anyone with a subscription. The normal Anarchy Online game is free to play, but to play on the progression server, you do have to have a subscription. And speaking of old MMORPGs, Redstone launched a big update this week, and I bet most of you haven't even heard of this game. It's a free-to-play 2D isometric MMORPG that resembles classics like Lineage 1, and it kind of looks like Record of Lotus War Online. The game had a new update this week, which introduced a new 1v1 PvP system, some balance changes, a tutorial rework, and a bunch of other smaller quality-of-life improvements. Redstone originally launched back in 2003, and it's a cool 16 years old now, and it still gets updated regularly. This is an old-school grindy MMORPG and has a level cap in excess of 900, has job promotions, and even a rebirth system so you can grind all over again. So there's definitely a lot of grind to be had with this one. Next up, World of Warcraft Classic announced it'll be launching its updates in 6 phases, with the base game launching with Molten Core, Onyxia, and Maraudon. Dire Maul, Kazakh, and Azuragos will be in Phase 2. Not having access to Dire Maul will actually make progressing through Phase 1 much more difficult, but that's the way the game originally launched, so it makes a lot of sense. Now, we have no idea when Phase 2 to 6 will be launching, but WoW Classic itself is aiming for launch sometime this summer, so it's not too far off, and it's finally happening. No word on PvP, content, or rewards will work just yet, but we'll learn more on that soon. I'm actually really happy to give WoW Classic a try, and I do believe it'll still be one of the most popular servers out there for World of Warcraft. I think it's going to do really well. And related WoW news, this time for regular World of Warcraft. The next installment of the Battle for Azeroth expansion is here with 2 new allied races, the Cool Turan humans and the Zandalari trolls. To celebrate the launch, Blizzard has slashed prices for race changes, fashion changes, and character transfers by 30%. And you can also buy the World of Warcraft Complete Collection and Battle for Azeroth expansions for $20 off both until March 31st. Now personally, I think the allied races are nice, but the lack of new classes with this expansion is definitely kind of lame. I find new classes always to be much more exciting than any kind of new races. And now speaking of Blizzard, Hearthstone announced their next expansion this week titled Rise of Shadows, which is launching on April 9th and includes 135 new cards, a new solo adventure, a new keyword, and more. And as always, anyone who logs in during pre-launch will get a free legendary card and a bunch of quests to unlock other freebies as well. And as usual, players can also purchase a special pre-order bundle, which includes 50 packs for $50 or 80 packs for $80. Hearthstone continues to be the #1 digital card game in the world, and it shows no sign of slowing down. Artifact was a complete bust as well, so the only real competitor here is Shadowverse or Magic the Gathering Arena, but neither comes close to the scale and size of Hearthstone. Moving right along, remember how MapleStory to announce the Project New Leaf with their efforts to listen to player feedback? Well, the first fruits of that project are starting to finally happen. The game announced big changes to the game's in-game economy with a new currency exchange called the Meso Market, where players can essentially trade Mesos, the in-game regular currency, for blue merits, the premium currency. This is something found in games like Blade and Soul, Neverwinter, RuneScape, World of Warcraft, and a ton of other games. The game just does have a hard limit in place, so to prevent too much abuse or too much purchasing, so you can only buy up to 20 million Mesos per month maximum for the time being. So you can't just spend infinite money to get infinite Mesos. But it's a nice touch, and I think this feature should find its way in basically every MMORPG. Next up, yet another game is embracing Battle Royale. APB Reloaded announced a new Battle Royale game mode called APB Riot, where squads of 4 fight for control over various points on a slowly shrinking map. Given that Black Desert added a Battle Royale mode and a ton of other games like Battle Riot have Battle Royale mode, it makes sense for APB Reloaded, considering it's already a shooting game. Info on the new mode is limited right now, but we'll learn more once it gets closer to release. Still no word on when that release is, though, just yet. But I do expect that now they announced the game mode, it'll be launching probably the next month or two. APB Reloaded is a bit of an oldie, but it still gets updated now, which is nice. Next and last of news this week comes from Blade and Soul, and they also added a new Battle Royale mode, which launched alongside their Legacy of the Hangmoon expansion, though at least it's an event for the game, so it's temporary. Players level 55 and higher can take part in a 20-player Battle Royale event on Shackled Island. It's a temporary game mode, so if you're interested, check out the full schedule on the game's website. Legacy of the Hangmoon itself is a big update for the game as it increased the game's level cap to 60, adds new areas, dungeons, and more. If you never played Blade and Soul, now's a good time to check it out, as they're giving away free max level coupons along with this update. Anyway, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later, guys.